Hi, it's Kim from the Shamrock Quilt Studio, and I want to talk to you today about being prepared to sew. And if you're like me, you frequently see these things that show up on social media talking about how a housewife in the 50s would need to get this whole list of things done so she could sit down and sew, as if that was secondary to everything else. And while we do have responsibilities and we do have things to be done, the most important thing about sewing is to be prepared. So I'm going to make some hints and tips for you right after this that are not the ones on the sheet that's going around. I'll be right back. Hi and welcome back. I am in my sewing room today and I'm getting ready to make a switch up from one project to another. I haven't finished one, but I need to work on something else for a little while so I can make some progress on it and get some videos ready for you. But my problem is I don't have any bobbins ready. And it's very frustrating to me to sit down to do something and have to stop when you're ready to sew and fill up bobbins. It's just one of those housekeeping tasks that you need to do. Now, I'm not sure if this is the real bobbin for my machine or not. It doesn't feel like it. We're going to skip that one because if it's not the right bobbin, it's not going to work well. So let's just talk about this while I work on filling up these bobbins. I've got two projects going for my sewing machine, and unfortunately one uses white thread and the other one uses black thread, and it doesn't fail that whenever I sit down to sew I've got the other bobbin and the other thread in the machine, or I'm in the middle of something and I've run out of bobbin, which happens a lot. So I'm taking just a few minutes right now to fill up my bobbin. I'm going to have to talk a little bit louder because my machine is loud. But I'm going to go ahead and fill up 2 bobbins of white thread and 2 bobbins of black thread and stick them in my machine or stick them with my project, so when I get ready to work on this, it's ready for me. And that eliminates some of the frustration that I find when I sit down, I can't find tools, I don't have what I need, and it just makes that whole experience of sewing more fun, more enjoyable. It takes the stress out of it. So we've just about got one finished, just working on its last little bit. And the other thing too is I use a lot of gray thread in my sewing, but I don't think I'm going to fill up any of those today because I don't have an active project that I'm working with gray, and also I don't know if I have another bobbin, so that would be a problem. We may go digging for one in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and get at least 3 bobbins, at least 3, hopefully 4 filled up. This is kind of a mindless task. Once you get it going, you just keep an eye on it and push your foot, right? What are some other things that you could do while you're sitting here waiting on this? I could tidy up my pins, separate all my pins so that I've got my long quilting pins from my little short applique pins, or little even shorter, stubbier little pins that I use to put things in a cork board. I could also go through my clips and organize my clips because they're always a mess. I have plastic clips, I have bulldog or binder type clips. I use all those things in my sewing, and lots of times most of them will get put away, but a few of them get left out or they get jumbled together. So they need some attention. There's always some housekeeping that needs to be done in the studio. I can always organize my projects and take note of what needs to be done next, or what steps might need to be taken. For example, I have one project that I'm working on right now that I really need to print out the next couple of patterns. So that is something that I could do. I don't do that here in the sewing room unless I have to bring up a printer and a computer. So I'll need to go to my office and do that. Okay, something happened here. We ran out of thread. So we're going to get 1.5 white bobbins and we'll just move on to the black thread. That was interesting. I don't know that it's ever done that before. But anyway, that's one thing you could do. I've got some projects that I need to cut some more pieces. And I really don't know how many pieces because I'm kind of going off script with it, and I need to do some trial and error sewing. I don't know exactly what size the pieces of fabric need to be, but if I sit down and kind of play with it and think about it, I'll figure that out. I have some pressing I need to do, or actually in this case some actual ironing. I've got a fabric that I pre-washed yesterday, needs to be ironed. So there's lots of ways that you can spend your time in your studio or in your sewing room prepping for sewing without actually sewing. And I think that's going to be my task this afternoon so that I can get organized and be very productive when I start sewing, actual sewing. Okay, so we've got 1.5 white bobbins. And I just noticed I've got half of a white bobbin in the machine. There's a black one. Let's see if I can find another bobbin. Oh, I have one made already, so I'm just going to stick that in there. So I've got all that together. I could take inventory of things I might need. For example, I might need another spool of white thread when I go shopping again. And there's something in this spool. Do you ever do that? Do you ever stick pins in the top of your spool and then later on figure out it's a quilting needle? That's fun. It's like a little prize. I'm going to stick that in there. Can also tidy up my little cart by my desk because it gets kind of messy. We could clean out our machine. Now I'm not going to do that today because I just did that the other day when I switched before from black thread to white thread. I took it all apart and cleaned it. So I think that kind of helps us a little bit in understanding what we can do to keep our sewing room tidy and ready to sew. So I hope that helps you as well. And that's going to be it for today. Glad we had a few minutes to spend together, and we'll see you next time here at the Shamrock Quilt Studio.